I love it. We're already started. Good evening, good evening, good evening. I want to
put mine on. I guess I put mine on too.
On too. Please, Rhonda, would you put yours on too? Put yours on too. Good evening and welcome to tonight's edition of Yes You with Friends. And as you can see, we want to wish you a happy Halloween, and they're clowning already. We got tricks and treats tonight, both of them. We got tricks and treats tonight. Now I'm not gonna say what's a trick and what's a treat. Nonetheless, I'm just telling you, we got all of that in the house tonight. I am your spiritual thought leader, Regina L. Stillman, and I'm so glad that you're here with us on this fine day. Now, as you see, Jonna is not with us on tonight. She needed to do some self-care and step away just a bit, but she's sending everybody her love, mad love. And I guess I need to turn my camera on, don't I? So let me go ahead and turn my camera on. There we go. There I am. Y'all thought it was a ghost talking. That's who I was on Friday for Trick or Treat on Reboot. And speaking of Reboot, Phoenix Lior will be joining us just a little bit later in the hour. Meanwhile, here we are, and here are my friends, Jabez, Tyrone, and Royalty. And I just am going to give them a moment to come on around and everybody greet you on this fine day.
Happy Halloween. It's my favorite holiday, y'all.
It is. Well, tell us about your week. What happened on your week? Tell us about your week.
Oh, I'm going first. I guess I'm the queen, Tyrone. So amazing. Gainful employment, check. Living love, check. Really. And today I went on a full thought stroll throughout Burbank. They weren't ready, but I was. THOT stroll. Y'all don't know. Not THO, not spiritual thought leader stroll, but a THOT stroll. I let them see me. I let them have it.
You let them have it.
You let them have it.
This week has been awesome for me. I'm feeling amazing. I'm ready for next month and everything that's going to be coming. What about you? Oh, I guess I have to pass it to somebody when I say that. What about you, Tyrone?
Well, hello everyone. My week was pretty good. A lot of learning this week. I was able to participate in a training early in the week. It was called Knowing Who You Are, and it gave me the opportunity to really, talk about and think about my culture. And we talked about the class is mainly about racism. And so I was able to have conversations about the racism I've experienced and, institutional racism and all sorts of stuff with non-Black people. So, I was able to, talk my experience and hear their experience. Very informative training that I did earlier this week. So that was amazing. And then we actually just got back from Austin. We went to support a friend who also plays tennis. So we went out there this weekend to support him. And then today is my Blaze's birthday.
Happy birthday, Blaze! Oh, I love that. I love. Is Blaze anywhere near where our viewing audience can see Blaze?
Tim actually just took him upstairs.
Oh, okay.
He was just at the door, but then Tim came and got him.
Blaze is adorable. Happy birthday, Blaze!
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my week.
Awesome.
So is that why you have the crown on for Blaze, or is that your Halloween?
Well, it started as Halloween, but I think it's something I'm going to do the rest of the year.
Ooh, okay.
I'm just joking.
Okay. I mean, royalty's sitting right there, and you just gonna read and be like, "We're all queens. We're all reign up in here."
Yeah, just for Halloween.
See, awesome. Rhonda, what's going on in your world down in the Ark?
Girl, busy as usual. I'm not going to stay on it long because I don't want to get back into this politics stuff, but I've been dealing with a lot of redistricting.
Okay.
We're having to be careful because they're doing it on purpose. Redistricting so that the votes can be changed in a certain district to automatically go toward the other side.
So I can say what you can't say, otherwise known as gerrymandering. Okay, there we go.
So yeah, we're dealing with that. And then I'm excited. I've been busy and I'm tired, but I'm excited. I have a fashion show this Saturday and one on December the 4th.
Oh, wow.
So I'm preparing for that. I've got lots of new inventory in. I've got the models coming in and getting them prepared. And we're just going to have a good time.
Come on here. That's what I'm talking about.
I love it. That's my passion. And so Halloween, I didn't get to go and do anything. So I thought, okay, I have my costume right here. So I'm going to be Halloween.
I wasn't ready.
I know. I saw a look on both of y'all's face. Like,
you are Halloween.
Wow.
Okay. I was just about to put an order in. Come on, California. Am I the only one in the state where Halloween may be actually puffable?
Yeah, we can't puff it here.
We can't place an order. No, we can't.
We can't puff it here. We can't.
Well, I guess in that case, I'm gonna wear the crown on that one.
Okay.
I'm coming for you, Tyrone. I'm coming for that crown. I'm coming for it. I promise.
I'm saying no, but hold on. Let me ask somebody that knows. Nancy, can we smoke weed here?
Don't put Nancy out like that.
Oh, she said puff, puff, pass. But you know what? That's one of my long-standing agreements. Just because the law says it doesn't mean that it should be or shouldn't be legal. There are plenty of laws that don't apply to some people and only apply to us. But you know what? Puff, puff, pass on this Halloween weekend.
See. Well, we got the Halloween queen.
Right.
And the funniest thing about that is she knows nothing about weed.
Stop telling everybody.
She knows nothing about weed.
She's trying to be down, spiritual thought leader. She's trying to be down.
Oh, listen, Rhonda's doing a little bit of everything right now, honey. She's coming out with everything. So let's go back and reflect on last week. Let's just go back and reflect on last week. Now, last week was Tyrone's eyes changed already.
Tyrone already on a whole face change and went. I had a sour gobstopper in 20 seconds.
See, listen, so before I go there, Nancy said, number one, I can't come for her. And number two, this is not a puff, puff, pass pleasure city. So there's your answer right there, even though she doesn't know nothing about it.
Now is that on Kansas or Missouri? We'll come back.
She's on the Missouri side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, come on, Kansas.
I didn't know because I know they're getting ready to open up dispensaries and all that kind of stuff, which I guess is for like
medicinal.
Yeah, that's what we have here. We have several dispensaries for that.
Okay.
A good bowl of greens is good medicine. Amen.
Well, okay. Now,
it helps.
yes. I'm gonna put the break right there because it's getting ready to get real.
Right.
We got to have Royal Confessions is about to come in. Royalty is about to go out the door. Royal Confessions is about to come in because Jabez is about to go into True Confessions right here. So anyway,
like I said, California, we can. Listen,
let me stop and say good evening to everybody. I just jumped right in and started talking, but Shelly Thunder, thank you for that resub. I appreciate you, sis, and hold on to your weave and hold on to your wig because I think they're getting ready to clown in here on Halloween night. As Halloween, Royal Confessions is our Halloween. That's my bad. Put it up again so we can see it one more time.
Yeah, this is my.
thunder. Listen, let me go ahead. No, I'm gonna go ahead. Good evening, Nancy Jackson. I see you. We want to appreciate you for being in here. Deborah Gibbs, all the way from LA, in the house. Good to see you.
Yes.
Come on in here. That's my friend. Mino 3782. Come on, sis. I see you. I see you. I see you. I want to say I saw Aguna Badger in the house. Come on. I appreciate you, sir. Stacy 546, baby. I see you. Yes, I do. The Rebel Inc. Come on. I appreciate you, sis. My mods are always out there doing what they do. And I want to say, I hope I caught everybody. I don't want to miss anybody in the shout out, but thank everybody that's in the chat. And for those of you that, as I always say, you don't have to be in the chat if you don't want to be. Oh, I see you. Come on around. Valerie Irvin is in the room on today. Come on, Val. That's my girl. Dalen 628. I see you as well. So come on. Let's get it crack-a-lacking up in here. We're gonna have a good chat. So I'm gonna go back around and I'm gonna ask once more because I think I gave you guys enough time to kind of regroup and pull yourselves together. Tyrone, now give me some feedback about last week. I know you all had no idea. Hey, there's one reason. Come on in here. That's that.
Come on.
Pass that Dutch.
Y'all got me cracking up. So now give me an update. We're gonna go back and do a quick review on one reason. Let me stop here. He is a streamer. To all my streamers that are in here, Dalen, I appreciate you. I want you to go out here, support these streamers. They do an excellent job. We are connected at the hip. I'm telling you, I feel like really God has really put all of us together. I'm loving what's going on. Appreciate them. Please give them a follow and please subscribe for those of you that will support it financially. Because listen, they're out here doing a great work. As Nehemiah said, we're doing a good work and we can't come down. Can't come down. Now, Jay, I'm gonna start back with you. MCP 812 in the house, otherwise known as Two Tambourines. I see you. Come on in here, Two Tambourines. Mel Holiday. That's my one that just won't act right. Come on. We in the house tonight. I see you, sis, and mad love to you. Now, y'all give me an update how you all were able to process last week's information. Because, I mean, Rhonda, Royalty, she let y'all have it last week. Royalty let y'all have it last week. I mean, she broke that thing down and put it out there. Now, let me give it one more plug. Where is it? pureromance.com / Shanna Willis. I want y'all to get you some. As my friend always says, Monica L. Smith, get you some. Now, Jay, give me an update, baby. How were you? Thank you for putting that in the chat. Please purchase.
I will just say that I had a friend of mine who I had already prepped and said, you got to watch me on the stream. You're going to love it. We have so much fun. We talk real. We don't give you, we don't hold back, right? We really give you a real. And I had no clue last week what we was going to be talking about. But I don't know if y'all noticed last week, but somewhere about midstream, there was one of those. Y'all heard that? It was one of those dings, and I lost it because on the other side of that message was definitely a message saying, where can I get Tom? So I'm hoping them orders have flown in. I mean, this is a friend. And when I say this is a friend, I was like, I was not expecting this from you of all people. But you know what? The good news was spread. And I hope the gospel was because when I got off this street, we had a whole conversation though. We had an entire conversation about, and that's good. That's healthy. But also, I wasn't ready. I mean, I know Tyrone wasn't ready, but I wasn't ready.
Tyrone's still not ready. Look at Tyrone.
Tyrone, y'all let me speak for myself.
Right. Thank you.
Go ahead and speak for yourself, baby.
I enjoyed last week's show. Very informative. Saw some things I really wasn't sure what was supposed to happen with it, but You know, my mind always goes to the extreme. So I'm thinking about, things rubbing too hard and rashes and, how you clean things. But other than that, it was a very informative show, really got some good information. We were able to see the product and the quality of the product. I think it was great and fun, a very fun show.
It was awesome. It was absolutely positively awesome. I loved every minute of it. Rhonda, now somebody said Tom in all caps. I'm not going to call no names. Tom, all caps. So you listen, Tom is about to be somebody's best friend. And at the end
on MySpace, the first friend.
The only friend for some. Right. Anyway, I appreciate it. Listen, JB. One reason said you ain't ready, Tyrone. You still ain't ready.
Tyrone still ain't ready.
I was just confused sometimes, but it all came together.
But she broke it down. She broke it down. Yeah, she broke it down. Rhonda, that we enjoyed Shanna, and we really enjoyed your presentation of it. Thank you so much. What was your takeaway, and anything that you can share of Shanna's takeaway? Because I want her to be well paid, well benefited. We just gonna keep singing her praises and putting it out there. Hopefully, the people will support her in her ministry. Share how that experience was for you last week.
I enjoyed it. It was different for me, and a lot of my friends that watched the podcast, they didn't know what the podcast was going to be about, and they was like, "Wait a minute, is that Sister Raw?
Come on, Sister Raw.
Is that Sister Raw talking about sex toys?" So doing the show, I kept getting messages, and it was different, but it was fun.
Yes.
And Shanna enjoyed it. She really did, and I thought she did a really good job at explaining it.
Yes.
She knows the products real well.
Yes.
So I'm proud of her. And so I'm going to continue to push her, regardless of it's sex toys. You be thinking, why are you pushing? Yes, I'm pushing it.
Yes.
Because it's a business.
Yes.
And somebody's going to make that money.
Yes.
And why buy from anybody else?
Right. So why shouldn't it be my baby?
Yes. And I'm encouraging everybody support pureromance.com/Shanna Willis. Now, don't just go to the .com. I want you to do the /Shanna Willis. Please do that. So she did an excellent job.
Yeah, it was a good podcast.
It really was. It really was. Now, even with that, I want us to kind of delve just briefly. Why is it that you feel, because I'd say that my mission that I really feel that God has given me is to deconstruct the walls between the sacred and the secular. I want to help myself and help others to understand why is it. I hear you, BTD mom. Come on in the room. Come on in the Lions Den. Now, I preface that with help myself. I don't want y'all to think it was with Tom. I'm trying to finish the rest of my statement.
Everybody need a little help. That's all I'm gonna say.
Everybody need a little help. Y'all are putting Tom to work.
The song said, "I have a little help from my friends." That's what
Tom and friends.
Well, not to bring it back to Halloween, but the song also says, "I get high with a little help from my friends."
Oh well, I missed that part. There's a natural high that you don't need the weed if you get time and act. You get time to act right. There's a natural. Anyway, I just want to come on this. Why is it, do you believe, when I talk about deconstructing the wall between the sacred and the secular, why do we have this stigma and make it taboo for people that love God, know God, have relationship with God, but y'all scared to talk about sex like it's something bad and horrible? And I mean, what is that about?
I mean, a big part of it is, again, you said people who know God love God, but it's the structure that we learn about God that pretty much tells us that that's something we don't talk about.
Well, for me, there were two different worlds. There was the spiritual world that said what you believe and what you read in scripture, which did include sex in a lot of ways. And then there was the secular world, which is where you were supposed or expected to learn about sex. And that's what I really appreciated about the last show, is it really did say, let's break down that wall, because we are saints having sex. Saints are having sex. And the idea that they need to have separate conversations, or that those conversations can't be had inside the people who, I think your faith relationship is what you trust most in a lot of times. So if you can't have those relationships, those conversations with people that you have a faith relationship with, you're doing yourself a real disservice, because that is a real trust-filled relationship. And if you are only trusting the secular world to tell you about sex, you're probably not getting the best advice.
I agree. Rhonda, you want to chime in on that?
Right, because the way we were brought up, it was taboo. That was something that we did not discuss. But if anybody ever listened to Yvette Flunder,
Oh yeah.
and how she talked about everything she learned about sex was in the church.
Come on.
Now, I mean, it was undercover, but that's where she learned it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of sex going on in the church. They just don't want to talk about it.
A whole lot of it.
And so it was a taboo thing. Don't tell it. Don't do this. Don't do that. So we feel like we can't discuss it. But look, I told you last week, sex is creativity.
Yes.
We are creation.
Yes.
And it's time to talk about it.
It's time to talk about it. It's time to put taboo to rest, making it taboo and making it something that cannot be talked about, and almost even making it to the point where, good Lord, it's like when folks finally say I do, or whatever level they get in relationship at, I'm just like, well, what are y'all gonna do? Because y'all just too, child, please.
Yeah, they're gonna be making love. The praise the Lord, everybody.
No, we ain't making love to that. No. No.
Listen, Phoenix Leor said, if something spiritual, she don't know what is.
Ooh, hey.
That's
I would agree. Now, Mel just chimed in for Tom, and I'm gonna say this, and then we're gonna move on. But listen, she said Tom never gets tired, and he's always hard.
Welcome to the show, Mel.
Right? Ain't never got to hold her. Look, but you know what? This is a pride of lions, not a shame of lions. Don't get me wrong. There's some behavior that folk ought to be ashamed about, but that doesn't mean that we can't talk about it. Because if you want to find the right path, if you want to find balance, you have to be able to be truthful, be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Shelly Thunder's got a wonderful statement in here. I want you all to chime in on that. She said, I think it's because the church teaches from youth that sex is a sin unless you're married. And even then, certain sexual acts are sinful and not of God, which makes no sense to me. Come on and give me some reflection on that. And I agree with her.
I mean, that's 100% the truth. I mean, you're taught, if you out there having sex and doing the most, and you're not married, bringing a whole bunch of kids into the church, that you're judged. I mean, it's a sin. And then if you do anything, put some in your mouth if you want to, and pull out Tom and talk about it on at praise and worship. Well, you're gonna have an issue with the church. They're not gonna want your tithes. So I mean,
they always want your tithes.
Oh, they want the tithes.
I'm like, hold up, they don't take the tithes.
I don't care how dirty that money is, they gonna take your tithes.
But yeah, I mean, for most of it starts in the church.
Yeah, but that's crazy. The ladies, and I'm both ladies and men, but both of them be dressed and have them long skirts on, dresses on up to here because they can't show anything.
With no drawers.
With no drawers, and knocking on the doors. But
right.
Yet they're teaching the youth no sex.
Well, I'll speak for myself here, and I have many opposite sex sexual relationships, and I have many same-sex sexual relationships. And the church, if we want to talk about it as an institution, only wanted to accept or understand half of the way that I love. Mm-hmm. And frankly, that just wasn't going to do for me. And if I couldn't come to you and explain to you that I am different, not that I think I'm different, or I'm still struggling with being different. I am who I am. Mm-hmm. And I have relationships that are not based on gender. My relationships with my friends, with my lovers, are based on whether or not they are somebody I want to go and lay with. And if I can't bring my whole self to the conversation, then there's no conversation.
Come on, come on.
What is Yvette? Is she a bishop? What is she?
Yes,
What is
she's
her
a bishop.
title?
She's
I
the
want-
bishop. She is a bishop, and her ministry is the Fellowship of Affirming Faiths.
I want you all to go out and listen to her because and I was just surprised that she said it. She said, but when she learned that she could pleasure herself,
Come on.
that's when the world just opened up.
And other things opened up
And
too.
other things opened up too, right? She
Mhm.
actually came out. You can go back and watch it.
Yep. Yeah.
When she learned that she could pleasure herself, boy, the world just opened up.
I know people in the church right now today who teach against masturbation. Come on, Phoenix Leo. I'm gonna let you jump in. Because you're here. I brought you in for another topic, but listen, you right on time because I know you can handle this one too. Good evening, Phoenix Leo.
Don't bring that reboot foolishness over here.
Oh yeah, we bring it today. Yes, that's what I came for.
This is not Friday.
It is a holiday. She said,
Listen.
I'm here for it. I am here
Listen,
for it.
let the pastor preach and tell me I can't masturbate. I don't care if I'm on program. I'm getting up and leaving because that's not of God. I'm not going to be able to deal with it now. Now, did Jesus tell you that? Because he didn't tell me that. Okay, so I don't know what's going on, but I can't go to that church.
I hear you.
And if people were honest and true about their convictions, I don't know anybody who doesn't masturbate who's going to that church. But I think a lot of times people deny parts of themselves to, I will say fit in, but that's not the word I want, to have the air of piety, to have the air of righteousness, as opposed to that
Fake.
like I said, shame or whatever it is.
Yeah, but that's what it is. It's fake, and they created this idea of, oh, I'm holy and I'm this person and I'm higher and I can help you be closer to God. And it's just like, you the same, you're human just like me. You have convictions just like me. And you can teach and be that person for people, but not here looking down. Here, face to face. I remember Aunt Jean was talking about on that podcast where you were speaking with John about one of her daughters or something, and you got right down on that level with her, and you said, we're not going to do that. And she was like, okay. And it's like you got to be on that same level to be able to, do anything with me, because I think that's crazy. It doesn't work anymore.
And that's why some of them are so mean and ugly to people, because they need to masturbate.
They need some. They need one good orgasm.
They need some.
Maybe two or three.
Yeah.
And when are you closer to God? I mean, I'm just speaking for myself.
On your back with your legs in the air.
Now I know you don't know me, Tyrone. That I thought you knew me until that, but I know you don't know me.
Let me get some of my weed.
Listen. Not the weed.
Listen,
Happy Halloween, y'all.
Halloween.
I love it.
her costume is Happy Halloween.
I love it. What's everybody else's costumes? I see this crown. I'm loving this crown. Yes. Let me know. It's beautiful.
Listen. Okay, so now I'm gonna go real quickly. Lena did, and this is a cross-pollination with Reboot. Anybody that doesn't know, Phoenix Lior is our fearless leader from Reboot, our Friday at 2:00 session with our millennials, where it is raw. It's rated R for raw. We just let them talk about whatever they want to talk about, however they want to talk about it. You did an excellent job this week talking about Halloween and understanding all the dynamics of the difference between then and now, people's mindsets and so on and so forth, even though there are still people that have a real issue with Halloween. You broke some stuff down there. I do have your video queued up that you were going to run on Friday, and I have that ready to roll and rock and roll with this evening. But just kind of come at us a little bit and share some of that, drop some of that knowledge that you brought in, because I mean it was great. First and foremost, before you go there, I'm gonna let you kind of formulate that, because you didn't know what I was going to ask. You didn't know what I was going to ask ask of you. I'm going to ask, while you kind of formulate that, I'm going to ask each of our friends, what was your scariest Halloween movie that you've ever seen? And then what do you think is the absolute worst Halloween movie or scary movie? I will make it scary, not necessarily Halloween. What was the scariest movie that you've ever seen? What was the worst scary movie you've ever seen? And this may be interesting. We'll start with you, Jay.
I have one word. Beloved.
That is not a horror movie.
That's
And
a good one.
that is an amazing movie if you read the book.
Now, I love Toni Morrison. She is a Nobel laureate. She is an American treasure. But I can't watch that movie ever again. I bet you watch it the first time. Tyrone, are we finna fight?
Tyrone, I'll let you have a rebuttal. Go ahead.
Okay.
There is no scarier, and it's for both answers. There is no scarier or worse. There are a few movies that I can only watch once. I think Monster with Charlize Theron was one.
Are you serious?
Tyrone, hold your voices there.
He's not having it.
He's clutching his pearls.
Yeah.
Okay, now go ahead, Jay.
Okay, so we all understand that we live in this system that we call America, and it's been formed on a couple of principles that haven't always included our viewpoints. And one of those viewpoints was the enslavement of human beings. And that enslavement came with some horrors that they then took and put into a movie. I'm not even gonna give the ending because everybody's seen Beloved, but ain't nobody who's seen Beloved actually want to have seen Beloved. I would like to take back those 2 hours of my soul of Beloved. It hurt my heart. And like I keep my walls up. I can't watch it. I was thinking about watching it again, and then I was like, you know what, Jay? You do not need to have a mental breakdown on all of your friends, all because you went and watched this movie that you ain't had no reason and no purpose watching. Don't get me wrong; it is and read the book. See, here's the thing: the book gets you here, but the movie gets you here, and when it goes through the windows of my soul, I could not take it. And there are very few things that I cannot take.
Shelly Thunder said that movie was just unholy. Tyrone, I'm gonna let you get your rebuttal in since you had such a reaction to his movie. Go ahead.
Well, my thing is, I love Beloved, and I watch it any opportunity that I get. But the first time I watched it, it was a little crazy. But after reading the book, you have a better understanding. It's a story of our people. Where our women were raped and where we had to get out there and do things for something. It's a story. I mean, to me, it's a great book, which turned into a great movie. I had a better understanding of the colors and the symbolisms and things of that nature, and it really tells a great story. But you have to read the book first. I would say going into it just seeing the movie, and it's very graphic. You have a mother who has to kill her kids. But then there's a story of she had to kill her kids because she'd rather her kids be dead than going back with slave master. So there's a whole story behind it. So you read the book, you have a better understanding of the movie. And then Monster with Charlize Theron, I watch that all the time as well because even though it's someone's story, at the end of the day we all got a story, and at the end of the day. She was only looking for love, and that's what's wrong with the world. People are out here looking for love, and they act out in certain ways. All people want sometimes is just someone to love them.
Come on,
you draw the line as serial murder.
That is, to me, that is an amazing movie.
What's
Everyone
this movie?
who won awards for that movie deserved it, and it tells the story of a woman. She was nothing.
Now, she acted her tail off,
and she did kill some people. She was a killer.
That did happen.
She was a killer. But how many times are you gonna let men stick stuff inside you and beat you and tie you up and treat you like any old kind of thing? Your parents never loved you. The church didn't love you. No man you dealt with loved you. And you get to a point where you on snap and you may have to cut a few throats in the process. But at the end of the day, he was only looking for love. And I think that's an amazing movie, and everybody may learn something from it.
What is this movie?
I'll take that.
What's the movie called?
Monster. Charlize Theron
and Christina Ricci.
He said she did kill some people.
and just breezed right on by. I said she did kill some people.
Looking for love.
And so did Nat Turner. But we read about him in February. So I mean, sometimes you got to kill a few people to get some things done.
Oh, Lord.
Woo, Scar is in the lion's roar tonight.
Oh, my goodness.
Mufasa said, nah.
Listen, do either of you, Rhonda or Phoenix Leor, do you have a comment on either Monster or Beloved? Because listen, Tyrone is he just couldn't take it. Anything that you all want to comment on before because listen, Tyrone, I need you to take your blood pressure.
Right. Yeah, hydrate.
Listen, do all of the above. Do all of the above. Now, listen, Shelly Thunder said sometimes the necessary must occur.
Now, in terms of human tragedy, there's only so much tragedy that any human is going to take before they are going to pay it forward. We understand that. But I'm just saying, you cannot not call that a horror movie because there were some horrors. And I think those are the ones that affect me most when the horror is real, because I know people who have lived that experience. Yeah. And it hits home. It hits home. See, she done had to walk away. She said, I can't take it. I can't take it. I couldn't take it. The first time I tried to watch Monster, I walked out of the theater. And I don't do that because I done paid my good money for a theater.
I break it down and cry every time.
Oh, Lord.
It is a sad movie just because at the end of the day, like they wanted to make her out to be a lesbian. They wanted to make her out to be all these different things. At the end of the day, it wasn't about the person she fell in love with. It just so happened to be that it was a woman who showed her love.
Okay.
Just like Suge.
Purple. Everything just want to be loved, even the color purple.
Right.
That was a horror movie too. But
it's a rough one.
Okay, so we got you, Jay. Bring me on. Let's go around to Rhonda. Your scariest movie ever and the worst scary movie ever.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to have one. I'm like, who bringing my doorbell, girl? Trick or treaters.
Your lights on, girl?
No.
They knocking on the doors and your lights are off?
Girl.
Oh, Lord.
Anyway, believe it or not, I do not do scary movies. I do not do horror movies. So there's not one that I can even name.
Okay, cool. I will take that. Lena.
Well, I'm just like that. They don't sit well with me. It's fun watching them, but it's like after when I'm by myself and it's nighttime, and that's when my mind starts to play tricks because my mind is a comedian. But as far as Beloved, I also used to be very scared of Beloved. But I have watched it multiple times, and I do think that it's a really good movie. And it's powerful, but I wouldn't just, let's watch Beloved. I wouldn't do that. Just read the synopsis and then we could talk about it, but I don't want to watch it.
If I walked into a Halloween party watching Beloved, I gotta walk out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would watch Beloved anytime. Just pop it in the DVD back when we had DVD players and just watch it. I love the movie.
It's a good one. I remember everybody's talking about the girl, Fanny. I can't remember her name. She's British. Uh-huh. She didn't have any other roles for a long time because she did that role so good. Everybody was like,
Yeah.
Wow.
But my scariest movie, let me see. I don't really watch scary movies. Last scariest movie I probably watched was Annabelle.
Good.
And it didn't affect me too much because I don't have any dolls in my house or anything. So ain't no spirits. I keeps the Bibles everywhere and all this land. But that's what's gonna be my scariest. Anything that deals with spirits is gonna probably affect me because I feel like it could really happen. It's really real.
Wow.
So,
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Tyrone, your scariest ever and the worst scary movie.
My scariest movie, and I actually love scary movies, but I have the same effects like afterwards. But I love to watch them, so I watch them like this. Someone's always like, "Okay, you can look now," but I love watching them. But the scariest scary movie I've ever seen, and I haven't finished it. Even to this day, I still can't finish it. Is the original Pet Sematary? With Stephen King. Like, oh my God, there's trick or treaters at my door. Oh my God. Okay, hold on. I get excited.
Oh. Are you gonna go give him candy?
Tim got it.
Oh, okay.
If they ring the doorbell. But So Pet Cemetery, the original, I have never been able to get through that. I tried to watch it, I think like last year, and I was just like, oh, they're looking at my window. Hold on a minute.
Okay.
Well, can I pick it up?
Yeah,
because I have an intense fight or flight response when it comes to horror or gore. And like when I watch a scary movie, it's not that, see, Tyrone, he doesn't have to watch it alone. He can be like this and somebody can give him a little description with his lips. But me, like if I watch a horror scary, if it gives me that fight or flight response and I cannot fight, like I'm watching this happen on the TV and I don't have anybody to punch, then I had a full-on fight with my best friend after I Am Legend because I didn't have nobody to fight. I was like, I need to hit something. And I tried to tell him, I was like, don't talk to me for like a day. And he was like, well, what did you think about the film? I was like, I didn't mean to go off, but it's a psychological, mental response of fight or flight, and my body won't let me run. I think that's the Stillman in me. And then the rest of me is just wrecked. Like I'm tense. I can't take it. I can't take it. And when I don't have anything to fight, like when it is supernatural, I think the last one that got me like that was the voodoo one with it only works if you believe in it. What was that one? Oh, y'all gonna tell me.
I don't know.
Are you talking about Eve's Bayou? Oh, okay.
Or maybe Eve's. I don't remember what it was, but
it's not scary.
Yeah, it's not.
I was like,
I don't like it, but it's not.
But I get that response, and I have to. Here's the thing: I only get that response when I'm with people who can't fight. But when I'm with, a big, broad-shouldered, 300-pound, something I can lean into, like, ooh, I like this movie. Then it don't bother me as bad because I don't have to fight.
That part is fun.
Say what?
You watching. That part is fun. You watch somebody and you jump in and somebody's just holding, I got you. Yes. That's nice. But it's just that afterwards, when they leave.
When you're home alone.
When you're home alone.
And you got to deal with it.
Can you come over?
Right? I don't need to be alone right now.
Stacey said it's a really good movie and you need to finish it. I'm with BTD Mom. Most scary movies are just comical. I mean, after you watch them to a certain extent, it's comedy. She's talking about a woman running in heels, and of course, they're gonna fall down, all that good stuff.
And the crazy thing is, like most older movies, like when I was younger, so like growing up, the scary movie we would always watch was Night of the Living Dead. So that always scared me. But like watching those movies now and like on Friday the 13th and all that kind of stuff, it's not scary anymore. I don't know why I cannot get through Pet Cemetery. I get to a point where like I'm not about to do this to myself, and I'm taking it out. I cannot get through that movie, and I
wow. Meryl said her favorite is Carrie. Have you guys seen that?
Now I loved Carrie, a good old high school revenge story. Yes, honey, and that blood. I know it was supposed to be bad, but she was fashion.
The original Carrie is good now, but it's a good movie. When they start remaking stuff, I can do it. Yeah. But the original is good.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I always said, if you spill me with pig's blood, I'm gonna be a telekinetic real quick.
Right.
Okay, well, I'm gonna run this real quickly. I'm gonna share this. This is something that Lena put out, and then as I asked her to kind of drop some knowledge and ask a few questions, because we still. Yes, go ahead, Lena.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna say.
I gotta call you back.
No, you're fine. Lena finished the okay. I was just gonna say before we roll the video, I wanted to play a little game if that was okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I thought that it might be a good idea just to kind of get people's ideas to do like a little word association game. So I want to start with Jay. So when I say a word, I want you to say a word that you feel is associated with. First thing pops in your head, okay?
Oof, danger.
And then I'm gonna go to Royalty, and then I'm gonna go to Tyrone. Is that okay?
Okay.
Y'all know I love.
Don't hold me accountable for what I say. Is all.
That's perfectly fine. Okay. So first word is pagan.
Sex cult. Sex.
Wait a minute. You said pagan?
Okay. I said pagan.
This is not Friday.
Listen, we getting there. We're going in there. Sex. Okay, so you said sex cult.
But the word starts with an O, but I'm not gonna say that word. So I'll say sex cult.
Why not? Okay, that's fine.
Are you saying orgy? Okay.
Orgy, that's interesting. Okay, I'm going to royalty now. Okay, royalty. First word pops in your head. Roman Empire.
Sex.
Oh, come on. I love it. Okay. So we got sex cult / orgy. Then we got sex. now Tyrone.
Ask me anything.
Okay. I'll do you STL. Okay, so STL, Halloween.
Tom.
See what I'm saying? And y'all talking about don't bring the mess from reboot. Y'all got a whole mess right here.
That's because you here. That's because you here.
No, I've seen the show.
You would have Empire and Royalty would have gave you a scripture. That is only because you here.
I've seen the show last week, okay, and I've seen all y'all toys and sprays and glues and everything, and we didn't have none of that on reboot, so I don't even want to hear it. We had one sex toy on reboot. Y'all had 15.
We were selling products.
Y'all was selling products.
We were
I think y'all
promoting
tried
Black
little products too.
We were promoting Black
I've seen everybody's faces.
Tyrone, let her do this. This is what I asked her to do. So you cool. Okay, go right ahead, Lena. Go right ahead.
Right. Tom was going to be her answer.
The first thing in my mind was Tom, because that's the first thing I wanted to come to my mind. Now let's ask me again.
Ask you again. Okay. How about your word is life?
Life, heart.
Heart. Okay. Okay. Tyrone, your word is, and just first thing pops in your head. Don't let it be sex, okay? Unless it is. Okay. Death.
Sadness.
Sex.
You said sadness?
Sadness.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I should have been writing this down. That's good. Okay. So we have a video that just gives a little bit of background, and it's really quick. So yeah, let's go ahead and play it. I just thought that might be interesting.
Okay, we'll get this Joker queued up for us here, and we're gonna share that screen. Roll that beautiful beam footage.
From communion with the dead to pumpkins and pranks, Halloween is a patchwork holiday stitched together with cultural, religious, and occult traditions that span centuries. It all began with the Celts, a people whose culture had spread across Europe more than 2,000 years ago. October 31st was the day they celebrated the end of the harvest season in a festival called Samhain. That night also marked the Celtic New Year and was considered a time between years, a magical time when the ghosts of the dead walked the earth.
It was the time when the veil between death and life was supposed to be at its thinnest.
On Samhain, the villagers gathered and lit huge bonfires to drive the dead back to the spirit world and keep them away from the living. But as the Catholic Church's influence grew in Europe, it frowned on the pagan rituals like Samhain. In the 7th century, the Vatican began to merge it with a church-sanctioned holiday. So November 1st was designated All Saints' Day to honor martyrs and the deceased faithful.
Both of these holidays had to do with the afterlife and about survival after death. It was a calculated move on the part of the church to bring more people into the fold.
All Saints' Day was known then as Hallowmas. Hallow means holy or saintly, so the translation is roughly Mass of the Saints. The night before, October 31st, was All Hallows' Eve, which gradually morphed into Halloween. The holiday came to America with the wave of Irish immigrants during the potato famine of the 1840s. They brought several of their holiday customs with them, including bobbing for apples and playing tricks on neighbors, like removing gates from the front of houses. The young pranksters wore masks so they wouldn't be recognized. But over the years, the tradition of harmless tricks grew into outright vandalism.
Back in the 1930s, it really became a dangerous holiday. I mean, there was such hooliganism and vandalism. Trick-or-treating was originally a extortion deal. Give us candy or we'll trash your house.
Storekeepers and neighbors began giving treats or bribes to stop the tricks, and children were encouraged to travel door to door for treats as an alternative to troublemaking. By the late 30s, trick or treat became the holiday greeting.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a little bit, and it's, actually, I think that one was geared towards younger people, but it gives you a little backstory of the history of Halloween. Now, was this any new information for you guys, or have you ever known like the origin of Halloween and why we celebrate in America and all that?
I didn't know.
I always had thought, and maybe it's because of cultural roots here in Southern California, that it was closer aligned to Dia de los Muertos, which may also still be from the Catholic Church, but which is, anybody who's seen Coco, again, the veil between the living and the dead being thin, and people being able to speak to those that have passed on, speak to those that they've loved.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But this is new to me to hear that it was a reimagining of a pagan holiday, which I'm just going to go ahead and say I'm going to assume also had orgies.
That's interesting though, but yeah, so pagan, so it is originated from a pagan holiday, and I've heard that people say, "Oh, it's a pagan." Yes.
I thought it's something else. Sorry.
Oh, what'd you think?
It's okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Pagan holiday. So, learning that, it made me think, what does pagan mean? What do you, because I think before I started researching this, I was like, when I heard the word pagan, I automatically thought, okay, evil or not of God. So then I learned that pagan does not necessarily mean that you're evil, and doesn't mean you're not of God. It means basically you are somebody who does not follow the religious or cultural things of the main society. So I guess it was they started calling people pagan when the Roman Empire came in and wanted to merge the holidays and get everybody to become Catholic or Christian or whatever. But you have these people on the outskirts of the city who are, have created their own religions, created their own cultures, and they started calling these people pagans. But it's associated with evilness because not of God, because they don't follow Jesus Christ or the Catholic way or anything like that. So I thought that was interesting, because, is it evil just because it's not what we want them to be or not what we believe, So that's interesting. And so then when you said that you thought that it was close to Dia de los Muertos. So that holiday is, I thought that it was similar too. But actually Mexican culture, it's a Mexican cultural thing. They don't think that they don't feel like it's the same as Halloween, and they don't like the two to be
and it's an Aztec specific, which is original Mexico. It's an Aztec specific holiday. So yeah, and they rejected the Catholic Church, obviously, with the Spanish-Mexican War throughout their history, and so that's why the preservation of Dia de los Muertos is in a lot of. There is Halloween here, and there's Dia de los Muertos here, but they aren't the same. No, you don't go to a Halloween party and celebrate the Dia de los Muertos.
Yeah, so Dia de los Muertos, they more focus on their past ancestors, and they basically want to honor those people who've come before them. And, they make these altars to do that, and they tell stories about their past people just to carry on the memory of their family or the old, the last people. And if you have seen Coco, it kind of explains that, right? So, yes, I love Coco. Coco is so, what color is the sky? I'm your more, I'm your more. I try to learn that song on the guitar. That's how.
You know what? We're gonna link up because that is one of my favorite musicals. Period.
It's so good. It's so good. They should make a Broadway play out of it because it's just, I just love it. I really do. But I also learned that since they did Coco, and actually it was a movie right before Coco, what is it called? The Book of Life. Have you seen this?
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically, talking about Dia de los Muertos also, but it's just not as mainstream as Coco. So a
Didn't
lot
they
of
make
the
like a
people.
cartoon about it or something?
Say it again.
Didn't they make like a cartoon about the Book of Life? I feel like
Yes.
Disney did a movie or something.
Yes, it's like, okay, so Pixar did Coco. I'm not sure who did the Book of Life, but it is a cartoon. But it's
Okay.
kind of
Right.
similar. You have to
Did
look it up.
Disney just say that was cool and bite it and say we're gonna do it too?
I think
Will they
so.
do that?
Disney probably hushed him and was like, "We coming out with Coco next year, so listen, y'all gonna be a B movie because we're gonna be the A movie, and that's how it is. We got the money, we got the power. You know how it goes, just like
You
the Roman
know.
Empire."
You know.
Yeah, but actually, Dia de los Muertos, they also had the same. A lot of people say that it's different, but they had the same history to where the Roman Empire came in and they merged the two. So there's this Dia de los Muertos, and they merged the two, like November 1st, All Saints Day, and everything, and they tried to conquer. So I thought that was, and they did for the most part, but I just thought that was interesting.
Yes.
Now,
What happens when you co-opt the culture?
Yes. Aguna Badger also brought in the point that before winter was also another old world way of doing Hallows Eve. So all of those things are blended together. So it's still all a blending for the purpose of conquering. And I don't think we really have really understood the clarity of how all of that got molded and melded together to make a holiday that really for everybody, as he said, pagan, anybody that wasn't Roman Catholic. And there is that literal concept of pagan, which is rural, out in the country, indigenous. So you have that with, and this is true. This is a part of a study that I'm doing as well, as far as when you start talking about how religion has evolved and how really there never has been a separation of church and state for real. So at the end of the day, you had, as the Catholics were going on, they're taking on the fish, they're taking on all this symbolism, they're taking this idea of soldiers. Well, soldiers were pretty much out of the city, out of the urban areas. You had people out in the pagans that were not warlike, they were not trained for war. So then you had the difference between the pagan versus the soldiers of the Christ, soldiers of the cross. And so then pagan, it's interesting to me that you immediately said orgy. What would
that was interesting to me too.
What would you have said if you had said, what does pagan mean? Where did pagan come from? Tyrone?
Well, first, I thought I heard something else. I thought I heard pegging.
Oh.
The ghost of last week the ghost of Tom is just leaning all over.
Yeah.
So I thought I heard pegging. So I was like, that's why I was like, we're not doing that over here. But
what would you have said? But when you think
I probably would have thought like cultish, like ungodly, devil worshiping, things of that nature.
Interesting.
This was my thought process too. They're not godly, and they're not of God. And so to learn that that's not necessarily the case, pagan just means, not of the Christian way. It's kind of a little unsettling, Why do I have this idea? Or why do people have a negative, or Christians have a negative connotation of Halloween, when historically it's not necessarily evil? You know what I mean?
And so, you guys, you're a little bit older. How did Halloween impact your family? Was it one of those things that it was viewed as, this is the devil, you can't celebrate Halloween, da 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 da? How did your family approach it?
For me,
Rhonda.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what you said, but I'm like Tyrone when I thought she said romantic. I didn't hear Roman, so that's why I said romantic. That's why I said sex. I didn't hear what she.
That's because y'all heard what y'all wanted to hear. Okay,
that's why
pegging, sex, cult, orgy. Y'all just ready for all of that. That's why.
On their minds.
But we never went through any of that. We did the Halloween. We did the candy. We never had any dealings with it was evil. The only thing we did was the church. It was always the church. We always had the heaven and hell party during Halloween season. The heaven, you want to go to church and you want to eat ice cream and cake, or the hell meant you went dancing and you ate chili.
Spicy hot chili.
Yes, so it was called the Heaven and Hell Party.
I remember
Which one
those.
did you? I've never heard of this. Which one did
Oh
y'all
man,
choose?
I remember those. Oh, Fort Dodge, Iowa. Oh, I remember
And
those.
did you had to choose between which one you wanted to go to, or you could go to both?
No, you had to choose.
You kind of had to choose.
Where was y'all going? Did y'all go to
Everybody's going
heaven?
to hell. Everybody's
Girl,
going
we
to
went
hell.
straight to hell.
The bad kids went to hell. I stayed in heaven and had my little juice.
Right.
Mind you.
But that's the only, and that was the church doing that. But
Wow.
as far as my family, no, we did not. I mean, we celebrated Halloween like everybody else. We went trick or treating and we gave out candy. And we did all of that. But the church was the one that made the difference, the split.
Mhm.
And nobody went to heaven, and except the pastor's kids, the PKs, that they made them go.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
We ate our chili and danced.
I know that's right.
But if you have chili, think what happens next. It prevents you from having anything else that night.
That's what they thought.
That's why I went to heaven, royalty. That's why I went to heaven. I wasn't about to smell everybody's farting all night. No, man.
You went into church sinning. Jay went into church sinning. He preparing for after church.
Oh, heaven
Listen.
and hell parties was a huge thing growing up.
I never heard
I
of
had
that.
never heard of heaven and hell parties either, Rhonda. I'd never heard of such.
Wow. Now I do remember.
I never heard of them either.
Oh, Tyrone, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, I was just gonna say. Well, we didn't really. The church wasn't involved in our Halloween. That we dealt with the church around Thanksgiving and Christmas. But I mean, we did the typical Halloween costumes. My mom took us out. My dad would always do real big Halloween baskets for us. I mean, we dressed up. We went out. We didn't see. There was nothing evil about it. It was just another holiday. I never knew why we celebrated Halloween. So got some information today, but it was just another holiday for us.
So why do you guys think that some Christians, because I guess I was interested in the origin because a lot of my friends that are Christian, some of them do not celebrate Halloween because they feel like it's against their religion. And I didn't grow up thinking that Halloween was evil. Definitely not consciously, maybe some subconscious innuendos or something like that, but I never thought that it was an evil holiday. So I just was wondering why do they feel that way? So that's when I started looking at stuff up, and then we talked about it on a podcast. But why do you guys think some Christians or people feel like Halloween is evil or have that connotation?
Well, I won't speak to anybody else's beliefs, but I will speak to mine. I was never discouraged in an independent seeking of spiritual truth. Never. In my family, it's like I knew. Well, let me put it this way: there were things that were the right way to do things and the wrong way, and you could choose the wrong way, but it was going to be the hard way. But nonetheless, paganism for me is the unchurched. But unchurched people still seek spirituality, and like I said earlier, sex to a lot of people is their closest relationship to God. It is their closest thing to that spiritual unknown. And through a lot of paganism, whether it be paganism inside the indigenous United States or inside Europe at the time or inside Gaul pre-Roman rule of the empire, they understood that. And a lot of times people who were spiritual scholars were also people who were teaching intimacy, if that makes sense. And the lessons that they taught and the things that they learned are not anything compared to what we teach ourselves modernly. But I immediately recognized the co-opting of language, the co-opting of symbols, the co-opting of belief by the Catholic Church as a conquering force. And so to me, it made sense to study paganism to understand Christianity because it has a history. It isn't just a story that came out of nowhere. Stories are told and retold and passed down to us. And so I'm just a kind of curious person where I want to know where it really came from. And when I realized that the origin wasn't the church, the origin wasn't these people who are telling me what is right and wrong. The origin was actually these unchurched folk who studied it for themselves and came up with some answers that the church couldn't politically agree with. Then I said, oh, well, even though the church is going to say they don't love Halloween, they done took everything from it. Even though the church will say they don't love, well, there's plenty of quote unquote pagan holidays that they say that they don't love, but then they celebrate them just the same. So to me, I needed to understand the origin. I needed to understand where it came from in order for me to take the truth out of it and also prevent myself from believing the co-opted images. You know, it always bothered me in horror movies, for instance, when they would like, you know, show the cross as if this piece of metal is the cross. That's not the power. The power is what's in you. And you know, it just always bothered me that they didn't try to explain where these symbols and where all this power that they speak about came from, the source of those power, of that power. They focused on the doctrine, and the doctrine is not going to protect you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know not a lot, but some church people that celebrate Halloween, but they do not allow their children to be witch or devils or that type of costumes. They can do other costumes, but they cannot do those.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think a lot of people, just being honest, don't celebrate, or they have issues with the celebration of Halloween because it's a trend. I mean, it's something to go along with. I honestly feel a lot of people can't tell you why they celebrate the religion they celebrate. We grow up as children celebrating what we're told to worship. Mm-hmm. But can a lot of people honestly say, I'm Christian, I'm Baptist, I'm this, that, and the other, because this was just my calling, my connection, my this, that, and the other. Even with holidays like Halloween, most people probably would say I don't celebrate it because that's just what they were told. Mm-hmm. There's most of them haven't done the research. I know I didn't. I celebrate Halloween because that's what we did. Great memories, some of the best holidays I've ever had, a good time with both of my parents. It was we was told to celebrate Halloween.
Mm-hmm. So then my question is, knowing that, okay, here we have in the past, they have merged the cultures, they have merged the religions, making saints the same as, you know, like in Mexico, they would merge the Aztec gods with the saints from the Catholic, you know. So when you hear that type of stuff, and let's say you are a Christian, what does it make you think about the faith, or does it change your opinion of the religion or the faith?
Good question.
Because me personally, it makes me, and I'll let y'all think about it. But when I see the past and I see what happened, and I think this is why a lot of younger people have like fallen away from, you know, being in church, and you hear a lot of young people saying, "Oh, I'm spiritual, I'm not religious," you know, and that doesn't have an age on it. But you hear a lot of people saying that, and I'm just like, why is this like a common thread now? And I think that when you start to look back at some of the stuff that happened with Christianity, people who were considered Christians and what they did with that, it makes people kind of pull back from it. And so, you know, when I think about, and we spoke about this on Reboot, but I think about, you know, hoodoo and voodoo, because, you know, some of those practices are from Africa, and a lot of enslaved people, a lot of enslaved Africans, you know, when they were during that period, this was their religion, but, you know, we had the Christianity come in, and so now they're merged, but the hoodoo and voodoo and stuff, that falls away, and you're just completely Christian, or we see that as negative or evil, you know, and then it's just like fully Christian. So it makes me consider, you know, is this stuff really evil, or is it just something that's opposite? You know, or they don't want you to know.
Specifically about voodoo, hoodoo, and the Haitian tradition, because they were truly a rebellion against the church. There were these conquering forces that Haiti was absolutely kicking out, and they decided they wanted a new church and religion that was based on the hodgepodge of many, many different African nations being placed on one island for sale and seasoning in order to be sold. So when it comes to voodoo, hoodoo, a lot of the religion is based off of being an antithesis to what was being taught in the church. And I think that's why a lot of people who made it to the States, I guess is the best way to put it. And we're trained in the ways of the church. We're told to demonize a lot of that specific faith base, because it was really in the same way that being Black and indigenously Black means that we sometimes can't trace our lineage all the way back to where we came from Africa, because these were people from all different keys, from East Africa, West Africa, North, South. And they were all saying, well, we know we don't believe that, because that's what they're using to justify our pain and our existence as slaves. So we are going to make a religion that completely rejects that. But I wouldn't say that it was born out of an indigenous paganism that was shared amongst all of them. And I say that to say that that's why a lot of churched people have a very strong resistance to voodoo hoodoo, because it basically is teaching an anti-church theology, right or wrong. But I do, as someone who really does try to study indigenous culture, I do want to preface it that it is in the same way that Black Americans had to create their identity and had to create much of their even church identity. It was even more so in Haiti and in the Caribbean islands.
Okay.
So I think that a lot of times, you know, even though we say we've done away with it, I think that if you look at the fact that many of us still, and I think we touched on this in Reboot, still have a lot of practices, I think, Marlena, that you all brought out, that we would say superstition or superstitious type, and we still practice that, whether we realize it or not. Then if I take it even one step further, and let's actually go into the church house, I come from, and I think all of you know, I come from a background where they will take blessed oil, put it on your hands, and we believe lay hands on the sick and they shall recover. For some people in mainstream Christianity, they would see that as some level of some other working force, you know, and so they would not, you know, they use the oil to bless. They may pour it on their head symbolically, like the water poured on your head symbolically, or whatever the case may be. We believe that there's power in that oil. We believe there's power in that blessed oil. And when we want to see we expect to see some results. And so for some people, many of those types of things are still, in my opinion, a carryover from our natural culture, where Christianity came in and said, we're going to take this away from you, we're going to take that away from you. But then we found other ways to still incorporate it, to where the mainstream Christianity still would look at it and say, I don't understand what's going on here. And we would continue to take that blessed oil, and I'm just using that as an example. There are many, many things that I could pull in here, but that one I think more people can relate to. I'm still going to take this blessed oil, put on your head, and I'm expect God to move a miracle, signs and wonders right now, which is still another way of coming in with some of our heritage from our past that other mainstream Christianity doesn't understand nor embrace, but we still believe it. And I still think it has roots coming from, just like you're saying, this is some of the belief, some of the practices that we did from our culture.
Especially herbalists and other types of medicinal shaman that came from villages. You know, they didn't ask you if you were a doctor when they enslaved you. They didn't ask you if you were a engineer when they enslaved you. They didn't ask you what your purpose was in society. They cared much more about the price tag that you could make and the price tag that your offspring could make for them. And so a lot of people who were revered throughout their culture before they made the indentured servitude's passage to the West, they had true knowledge. There are plants, like let's just take marijuana. There are plants that have psychotropic effects, and people who had that knowledge. But the fact is, if it's going to be rejected by the people who are indoctrinating you with whatever it is that you need to learn in order to just speak the same language as the person next to you, then you don't want to lose that knowledge. And a lot of times it becomes, like I said, a story that is told and passed down, but we don't even recognize that it's being passed in the way that it is. And sometimes it becomes gospel, even though it was really just common knowledge, or I don't want to say pagan knowledge, or et cetera. You know, there are things that people understood that had nothing to do with religion, but that were very much banned by religion.
So let me ask you this, Lena, because it was your question. How did it change your perspective, or did it change your perspective? And then I'm gonna ask Tyrone, when you come into knowledge and realities that there were some things that I'm gonna say just weren't quite right about the way Christianity went about melding some of these things together to galvanize control of the people. How did that make you feel as you've come into this knowledge, Lena? How does that impact you?
You know, personally, it makes me feel very vulnerable, and it makes me feel like, you know, I need to wake up or, you know, become aware, because there's so many things that I believe or know that are not necessarily good for me or not necessarily the truth. So, you know, how it affected me is that it made me want to just go back and research and actually learn. And then when people are trying to teach me things, I don't necessarily, even though they might be a pastor, or, you know, they have this, you know, they're holy, or they're very Christian, and, you know, they feel, you know, their spirit feels good, but I just take everything with a Saint Grat, a
Grain of
salt
salt.
of grain,
We
a
got
grain
you.
of salt. I'm a little dyslexic. Don't even worry about it. I can fix it.
We got you.
Grain of salt, you know. So it makes me do that and consider things instead of being just like, oh, yeah, they're good people. You know, they've been living this long. You know. And as far as religion, I just, you know, it's the same thing. And this is probably going to be, it's the same thing for me. I take everything with a grain of salt.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say, like, you know, I feel like the Bible, you know, was written by men, from God through men. And so, you know, everything is not, you know, everything could be, I don't even want to say it. But some of the stuff, you know, I'm taking everything with a grain of salt.
She can't say it. A Saint of
I
Galt.
can't say it.
We
Right,
got
a Saint of Grat. Yeah, actually, I'm just gonna start saying a Saint of Grat.
That's fine.
We got you. Tyrone, as you come into enlightenment, how does it impact you?
I totally agree with Lena as far as, you know, being, you know, coming into information. I question everything. And I'm a big component. I'm a big, you know, supporter of people really doing their own research. So when I learn new things, and, you know, I learned something new today, my world doesn't change at this moment, because this is something I need to research and figure out how it sits with me. And that's with anything, with religion. Like I've always said for years, like, how did I know I was Baptist? Or was this like a fairy tale where I was just told? I grew up knowing Cinderella left her slipper at the ball, and a pumpkin changed, and this, that, and the other. That was a story I was told. It was a story I was told that Jesus walked the earth and did this, that, and the other. So as I get older and get information, for me, it's just doing that, you know, that self research to figure out what works best for me.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Well, I agree with what they said. One thing for me, and that's what people need to understand, that there is absolutely nothing wrong with changing your course.
Mm-hmm.
Because as we learn, then we be like, oh, okay, I was going that way, but now I know better. Now I need to go this way. See, people think something's wrong with changing your mind, and there's nothing wrong with changing your mind, because now we know better. We're learning things, and we be like, oh, okay, we were wrong. We wasn't going to. Now let's go. So it makes me want to just change my course, and that's with anything. And I'm just saying quickly, even with the vaccine. When people got mad when they said, but we're going to do it this way. Then they said, well, no, we're going to do it this way. Well, they got more information that says, no, that wasn't the proper way. Let's go this way. And they're like, well, they're changing their mind. There's nothing wrong with changing your mind when you get more information. So because now that we're getting this information, hey, we got to change our mind. It's causing me to want to change my mind. It's causing me to want to change the course that I've thought about, or the way that I'm going.
Thank you. Jay.
For me, I love changing my mind, but I don't change my faith. And I say that to say that I believe that God knows all of this. Like, this is new to me. It's a new perspective. I'm seeing it in a new way. But the truths, the true truths, and the knowledge that is given to me, or that I find even in somebody else's lie, when you find out that it's a lie, or you find out that it doesn't change the fact that God knows it. It doesn't change the fact that your true essence of who you are and your spirit, that knowledge is there. It's just whether or not our perspective is able to see it. You know, when you see a corner, you don't always know what's around the other side, but that doesn't mean that the ground is going to fall out from under you. All of a sudden you have a better blueprint of this building and a blueprint of what you're in, but it doesn't change what you're in. Or for me, it doesn't. And so in that way, it gives me more faith. It really does. Like, my mind may be like, this, that, or the other. It's a new way that they thought about it over here in this continent. It's a new way that they thought about it over there in that continent. But the fact that, one, they all have kind of been purposefully or indoctrinatedly co-opted in one way or another, tells me that there is something to be learned by studying it. And to me, my faith is an independent study of what is the truth. And once I feel like I saw even a glimpse of it, it was so awesome I couldn't comprehend it even if I tried. So it was just like, you know, like, why be bothered with the fact that I don't know it all? Be like, oh, give it to me. Give it, you know, tell me the wrong thing, and hopefully I have enough discernment. And the Bible says, and many other scripts say, when something don't seem right to you or don't seem all the way true, especially to us, it can very often very much prove itself to be just as your intuition is telling you. So seek out your intuition, seek out that knowledge, but it doesn't change your faith. And not to say, you know, the word faith to some people means this religion versus that religion. I say what you believe is going to be true. I believe when I turn that switch, the light's going to turn on, and that doesn't change no matter who paid the electricity bill.
Cool. Now, Lena, you brought us some good information tonight. I'm gonna get ready to let you, whatever you want to share in the close of that. I appreciate your investigation. I appreciate your inquisitive mind. This is one thing I love about your generation, because you guys don't do the spoon fed just because they said so. There's that investigating mind, inquiring minds want to know, let me look it up, let me check it out, let me get a little deeper. And I know for some it's like, man, we want the fun, the laugh, the deep, the easy going, but this got a little bit into some areas of provoking the mind. Even as we hear from the friends, it gives you something to think about, gives you something to say, okay, even as Tyrone, I love your perspective of saying, okay, now I got to do some investigating for myself. I'm not going to jump off right here and go whatever. This is just like the beginning of, let me check it out and let me see how it sits with me. I loved that, how it sits with me. And I encourage everybody to do that. As Rhonda said, it makes you, there's nothing wrong with changing course. So I appreciate you for bringing it. Anything else that you really want to share about what you feel like you gleaned from this research that you did in this area? And I thought it was great. Again, thank you for sharing it with us and bringing it. Beautiful job. Anything else you want to share about what you gained?
Yeah, thank you for letting me come on and speak about it. I mean, I enjoy kind of doing a little bit of digging. I feel like there's a lot more digging to do. But essentially what I learned, seeing the stuff about the history of Halloween and, all the different holidays, it's kind of like a hodgepodge, and then Dia de los Muertos. I just kind of learned that, a lot of people, all of us are, when you get down to it, everybody's kind of the same. And I feel like there's been these walls in between everybody, or these cultures, and it's like when you get down to it, a lot of the things are similar. So it just teaches me, learn about people and learn about the things and learn about the stuff that you have in your mind that you feel like is stone. Just, assess it, because a lot of things we have been indoctrinated and we have been spoon fed, and we just trust it. But you can expand yourself a little bit more if you do some research and just get down to it. So that's about it. Thank y'all for having me. Where can I get Tom? Somebody text me and put that on there just so I'll know for later, because I'm about to get off of here, so I might need something to do later. And that's it for me.
The link is posted. The link has way over there. The link is posted.
Okay, Pure Romance. Okay, let me go ahead and copy and paste that. Hold on one second.
/ Shanna Willis. Come on, they say help yourself, Phoenix
All
Leo.
right. Let me open a new tab. I got it pasted and copied. Thank y'all so much for having me.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Now, we all get ready to get out of here. So here we go.
Oh,
This
okay,
is the
okay.
last question and we out. This is how we go. Okay. You are trick or treating tonight. What do you want to see in your trick or treat bag?
She just said it.
You want Tom.
I want Tom.
And she want him already lubricated.
Yes. Got something right in the room.
Thank you, Lena. Jay, what do you want to see in your trick or treat bag?
Well, I'm hoping I can. Okay, no, somebody's shy. Well, I want to have an amazing time with my friends. This is my first time having libations in literally over a month, y'all. I have not had a drink in a minute. And so the fact that y'all saw this wine glass go from full to empty, I have everything in my bag that I could possibly want. And I'm glad to be sharing it with my friends.
BTD mom wants Reese's candy. That's more what I had in mind, BTD mom.
Okay.
That's more what I had in mind.
Is that what you
Dealing with
You
the
gotta be
adults today.
specific. You gotta be
Listen,
specific.
I wouldn't mind a piece of chocolate myself.
So you want a black Tom.
I want a black Tom.
You want Tom in black.
I want Tom in black.
Oh Lord, he done got the whole bottle.
1800. What is it?
3 generaciones.
Now,
It is a wonderful tequila that will be making a wonderful. Yes.
That is
He's
really good.
speaking in other tongues.
It is.
Tell me, Rhonda, what do you want to see in your bag? And come on and tell me.
Well, dang, I got to bring it all the way down since you done made it. So I just want me some banana laffy.
No, you can say whatever you want to say, Rhonda. Don't even play. Take it
Girl,
back.
look, I'm a grieving girl because I told y'all before. I think it was on a reboot. Girl, the one with the bow legs. Girl, he died.
No,
Not the bow-legged
Yeah, the
one.
bow leg, Lena.
not the bow.
Oh, now.
The
What
bow
happened?
leg. Y'all know I love me a bow
We all
leg
dating?
man.
Them bow legs can just wrap right over, can't they, Rhonda?
I like to see a bow-legged man walk too. It's something
Girl,
about it. I
I
don't know
like
what it is.
They can't run though.
They can't run. That's all right.
So-
I'll catch you
Sometimes-
faster.
Look, Tyrone.
The bow-legged man died.
He
Listen.
died.
Run to
dating?
go.
I don't know what you want to see in your Halloween bag. Now, where did the bow-legged man come from?
She said Laffy Taffy. Y'all didn't like it. She wanted some.
Right. I said Laffy Taffy. They just told me to go somewhere else. So.
Well, listen.
Take that Laffy Taffy.
Bowleggedman.com. It's another dating site just came out. Go on there and find you
want
another
the
bow-legged
man
man.
in your bag?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
King Tyrone, what do you want to see in your bag?
In my bag, I would love a wedge salad.
A what now?
A wedge salad.
Oh.
That ain't Halloween, baby. Are you over here with Big Dentist? A wedge.
Right.
I don't really eat candy, so I would do a wedge salad, probably some bananas, some plums.
Oh, wow, okay.
I don't eat candy, so a wedge salad. Love a wedge salad. Probably some plums.
Spell it.
Salad.
No,
Wedge salad.
Well, you take a half of the lettuce and you put blue cheese and bacon. It comes with like what's the dressing? Blue cheese dressing. You never had a wedge salad?
I thought you meant somebody had a wedgie. And
No, I want a wedge salad in my trick or treat bag.
She said a wedgie salad. Toss it. Toss it.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, I
is a
might as well
wedge
just.
salad?
That last episode just has altered y'all.
You know, it's the last of the month. It's the last of the month.
I don't understand the words that are coming out of his mouth.
She said a wedgie.
You heard what you wanted to hear. A wedgie
Exactly.
salad. What is a wedgie salad?
I think I know what
Don't get
wedgie
us
salad
right.
is.
Yeah, you should be ashamed of yourself. You just prayed for people this morning.
That's why I can wait for you if you want a wedgie salad.
Listen, that's next level. Look that up.
What about you, STL? What about you? What's in the bag?
Snickers.
Mm.
I love me some Snickers.
Yeah,
I love me
chocolate,
some
chocolate
Snickers.
with nuts.
I'm telling you,
They said with bow-legged man, that nuts hang low because they got all his face.
I cannot with you.
Oh,
They're
did you
swinging in that thing.
Like this.
Ooh. I think the veil has been opened between the living
Exactly.
because
Yes.
bow-legged man is alive and well up in this conversation.
You hear
this
me?
has been Yes You with Friends, and you see my friends have been bewitched, and Halloween is loose in here. So
what am I
I'm gonna
saying?
let you go, and I want you, as always, come back next time, same bat channel, same bat time. Happy Halloween, and we love you.
Can I say something before?